Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is Rosemary Levesque, and you are here tonight on the Healer's Journey. Our journey continues with loving animals, the spiritual connection. And in the email I sent out earlier today, if you got that, it talked about soul connections. And as I wrote soul connections, I realized that's not the title I put on the webinar for tonight. It's actually what I have on my website, Soul Connections, because I feel so strongly, just as this person in the picture who is hugging her little dogs to pieces, that we have soul connections with our animals. They are not just animals. They are not dumb. They are, they're not just whatever you want to put in the fill in the blank after it. They are partners in our journey, and more than partners in our journey, as you will connect with, I'm sure, tonight as we begin the Healer's Journey. We'll talk a little bit more about soul connections and the spiritual connection we have with our animals. So again, thank you for being here. And because I am not, I'm not making any medical claims on this, we're not really going there tonight. We're not talking medical. We're talking soul. Maybe a little bit of miracle. I am the author of Heal Together, Natural Health Solutions for Animals and Their Humans. And you can get this book through my website, also on Amazon. Amazon's the best place to get it. They are technically my publisher. And you can find that by either searching for me, my name, Rosemary Levesque, or Heal Together, and it should pop up. And remember that when I talked last week and the week before, we were on Chapter 1. I'm not going through the entire book, of course, but in Chapter 1, this was the most profound chapter for me because it expresses myself on the healer's journey, and I hope it resonates with you on your journey as a healer and becoming a healer, stepping more fully into that role. So in Loving Ginger, I just shared with you a few pictures of when and how she came into our lives. She was a puppy in that top picture when my son was 4 years old. My daughter's 7 in that picture. And in the last picture on the lower right, that is Ginger when she was 13 years old, after she had recovered from surgery and had beat that nasty mess that had blown up her spleen. She was recovering, and we were recovered enough to actually go to the beach and walk on the beach and go to lunch and have her sit in the sun, lay down in the sun next to us. It was really a wonderful day I will never forget. And we start with Lesson 9 this time. We ended up last time with Lesson 8, Every Day is a Gift. And before we get into Lesson 9, Open Your Heart, I just want to talk one more time about Every Day is a Gift. Because when I was speaking with one of my clients yesterday, I have many clients who have dogs in trouble with cancer, and they're doing everything they can, everything that I am pointing them toward as well that will support them on their journey and hopefully help them recover. Right now, people who are in this particular situation, these dire straits with their animals, do believe every day is a gift. And when we wake up in the morning and we feel that way ourselves, it shows. And what do you think happens when it shows that we feel that every day is a gift? How do you think people that we're interacting with feel? How do you think the animals we're interacting with feel if we already know and feel and express that every day is a gift? So even though that was part of the emotional connection we have with animals, it ties in as well to the spiritual connection we have with animals. So every day is a gift. A gift from whom? A gift. A gift from whom? Well, Spirit, the divine, God, a gift from ourselves to ourselves, that we get to express our joy and live our joy in life, and that if animals are a part of that, then we are doubly blessed, I believe. Lesson 9, open your heart. Now, this was a very important lesson for me when I was working with Ginger, when I was loving Ginger. She had that surgery. She was recovering. We were doing all kinds of wonderful things to get her stronger. And I went to see an animal communicator for the second time. The first appointment was very interesting. The second one, even more interesting, where I realized that the gift that the animal communicator had was something I wanted. I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to know how to connect with my dog on a spiritual level to the point where I could understand what she was saying to me, that I could communicate with her. Now, do you ever feel that way? Do you ever feel that you would like to communicate with animals? Maybe your own, well, maybe especially your own, right? I hear often, gee, I wish I knew what my dog was saying. I wish I knew what my bird was saying. We say that all the time, right? I was there. I wished I could communicate with Ginger. And immediately, right in that conversation with the animal communicator, Ginger began giving me instructions on how to communicate with her.
Hey, babe.
What's that?
Oh.
Okay.
Nothing, sorry.
Okay. Anyway, she began giving me instructions, and I remember that the animal communicator said that I had this filter up. It was like an umbrella over my head, or gates in front of my heart, and that was why I wasn't able to connect with her, that in order to connect with her, I had to open my heart. Well, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that would feel like or look like. I was pretty new to Reiki. I learned Reiki because of Ginger. I learned Reiki so that I could offer Reiki to Ginger and help her heal. But more than that, I wanted to communicate with her because I thought it was pretty cool. And there had to be something about it that, why couldn't I do that? So Ginger began giving me instructions on how to communicate with her, that I had to open my heart. Now, what does that look like if you open your heart? What does that feel like to open your heart so that you can communicate with animals? Now, this is a very individual lesson. It's not something I can really instruct you in how to do. It's one that you have to figure out yourself. How do you let go of things in order to open up to the greater possibilities? How can you be open to something that you've never done before? And I will tell you when that happened. It happened when, on the day that Ginger died, on her last day, on the day she was getting ready to transition, I laid on the floor and I had my hands on her. I was doing Reiki on her, and something happened. I saw in my mind, I'm a visual person. Remember, we talked about this early on in our webinars. How do you receive information? Well, I saw pictures, and Ginger gave me pictures with her in it and then with her not in it. And within, I would say, less than half a minute, I had an entire story that she shared with me, and I knew exactly what it meant. And I made sure I told my family members, I told each person, I told my daughter, I told my husband, I told my son, I told everybody what Ginger told me because I didn't want to forget any detail. And later on, in the days that followed, I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. It was so profound that because my heart was open in that very last day, I'm about ready to cry here. It was so profound that Ginger shared a message with me, and I got it because my heart was open. So when you feel that openness, you're going to get it too. You're going to know what the animals are telling you because you have a soul connection with them. Lesson 10, find joy in gratitude. Sometimes it's hard to feel gratitude, right? Sometimes when you're given a blow, you wonder, well, what good is there in this? How is this helping? Why should I be thankful? And I will say that that blow that we had experienced with Ginger getting sick, first of all, diabetic for many years, and then the spleen rupturing and the surgery and the money and the, all of that was terrible for us. And it was horrible for her to go through. But it felt, as we got through it, it felt that it was important for the process. And that in understanding the lessons that Ginger was teaching, I began to feel grateful for the lessons. Not grateful that she suffered, not grateful that we had to learn the hard way. There I go again. But grateful for the lessons that we did learn because we did get it. And when you are accepting of the lessons and you see the greater good, then that's where you find the joy. And so it was the summer days that followed after she had had that surgery and she was recovering. We were outside in the summertime and we were just being with her. I didn't have an agenda. I didn't have anything to do. I wasn't booking appointments. I wasn't on the phone. I was outside with her. I was laying in the hammock. I was laying in the grass with her. And, the strawberries were out around the yard, and she loved strawberries. So she went over and she'd snap them off and munch them down. And I wasn't worried about her blood sugar. I wasn't worried about anything. I was just in the moment, feeling that joy. And so this was another lesson that she gave me that stuck with me, that we need to find joy in our lives and feel gratitude. Because even when things were crazy, even when things were really bad, there was still the connection, the soul connection that she and I have together. So finding joy and gratitude was another soul lesson for me. And lesson 11, there is only love. Time and time again when I talk to animals, because I do this now, I communicate with animals. It's kind of easy, actually. Time and time again when I talk to animals, I find that the message is really all about love. It's not about what kind of bed or ball they have. It's not about the things that people think are important to dogs or cats. It's not that at all. It's very spiritual when I talk to animals. It's all about the soul connection. It's all about love. It's all about remembering who we are and why we are here together. So I would encourage you, if you are thinking about this at all or want to develop your skills on communicating with animals and having that soul connection, that you pay attention to some lessons that you have learned personally, or maybe borrow some of my lessons and know that there is only love. And so when we know that there is only love, then there isn't anything else. So when I take Gracie now, my dog I have now, Gracie, when I take her out in the car or take her for walks or play with her in the house or feed her, I know that the entire time even though she's got her own agenda of it's time to play, it's time to do this, she's a herding dog. She's always telling me what time it is, right? Well, underlying that, there's only love. Because this is it. This is what she's here for. This is the power that she brings. This is her gift that she brings. And so when we are talking about soul connections with animals, the only thing we need to look at is love. That there is only love. Very forgiving, these animals are. Animals are our teachers. Ginger was certainly my teacher, one of my most important teachers, and I've had many teachers along the way. I had a beagle when I was a teenager, and he was an incredible teacher. I had a German Shepherd Lab mix when I was in my 20s, and she was an amazing teacher, also filled with incredible love. She was also a healer for me at a time when I needed that. And of course, even though I've talked about only 3 lessons today, 4 lessons actually, and this last one, there's only love, there are always more lessons, right? There are always more lessons. And so remembering that each interaction we have in the physical world, the physical plane of caring for animals or bandaging them or walking them or finding homes or rescuing them, as I heard today before we started our recording, always, always animals are teachers, and everybody involved has a gift to offer. So I ask you, where will your path lead you? Will you be the person who rescues the ducks on the side of the highway? Will you be the compassionate person who offers Reiki as you are seeing someone in need? Are you the person who people go to for help and advice because you see beyond the veil? Are you the person who is sought out because of the compassion you express and the joy you express? Are you the healer that you want to be? And have you tapped into the healing wisdom of working with animals on a soul level? So this is really one of the most important lessons I can offer, is that as a healer on the healer's journey, working with animals has been one of the most profound experiences, many experiences, all profound for me as a healer on my journey. And even though I'm here leading the webinars and teaching the classes and doing the sessions, I'm on a journey too. And I love always being on a journey because there is always more to learn. There are always more lessons to be had. I will share with you briefly one lesson that was shared with me from one of my former clients and students. He said that one of his dogs passed away recently, just yesterday. And his comment was that he took the big step and provided euthanasia before suffering set in, before it was kind of in the last stages, too late kind of stuff. And he was very proud of himself for having reached that kind of peace with himself and peace with his animal, to be able to offer the out of no suffering. And I've been thinking about this, how for people, we want to hold on to the very last second. I know I do. I want to hold on to the last second. But animals feel differently about being in their physical form and being in spiritual ethers. They feel differently about their body than we do. And it was shared with me years ago, many years ago, that animals thought of their bodies as a spacesuit, good for travel. To be in physical form, to have a body and be here as a teacher for us, as a companion, as a soulmate, as a fun, loving, childlike being of love and light, that's, the body serves a purpose. Okay, sure, I'll be in physical form, but I'm not tied to it because I don't need the body in order to be able to be here with you. And so when people, and this may be a big lesson we'll just add on at the end, for people, having a body, having a physical form is kind of everything for some people. It's like an attachment, right? Oh, I don't want to let go. I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my physical body because I don't know what I'm heading into. Well, that's a topic for another time, another webinar, but I just wanted to point out how animals don't feel the same about that. Animals are all about love. They are all about the spiritual connection, the soul connection, and they're not so tied to their physical body, except when we are. So when we are worried, when we are wanting them to be here, they will try to be here as long as they can because it's important to us. So that's the message on soul connections with animals for tonight. And like I said, where will your path lead you? I would love to know if this is something that resonates with you. I would love to know if you are wanting to work with animals more closely, if you want to learn healing techniques in working with animals or how to communicate with animals. And this is all something that can be achieved. You just have to say you want to do that. So your next steps, finding your life's purpose, perhaps growing into more of who you already are interesting next steps. And I feel that you guys are doing this. If you're watching or listening to this webinar, you're doing this. You're finding your life's purpose. You are growing into more of who you already are. Beautiful souls, beautiful beings of love and light. Now there is a spiritual mentor program that I do have. It's more of a formal name for a method of working with people that I've always had. So if you deeply desire to develop your intuition and connect more fully to your inner power, or if you're ready to embrace your life's purpose, you may want to have a look at working with me on a mentor program. There isn't any experience necessary, just a commitment to yourself. Not even a commitment to me, just a commitment to yourself that this is something you want to do. And you're doing it. You're here. You're listening, you're watching, you're beginning that, you're taking your next steps. But just letting you know that I am here if you want more. When I was beginning my work, I always wanted more. I always wanted to do more, be more, and I am still wanting more. I am always a student and the teacher. So it's an interesting combination. I would love to hear what you have to say about that. So you can apply for the Spiritual Mentor Program. All you have to do is go to my website, secondnaturehealing.com, and you'll find it on there. Or you can always email me, rosemary@secondnaturehealing.com. And I want to thank you for being here tonight. If you are watching this and you are not listening live, you're finding it on YouTube or on my blog, you can always register on my website, secondnaturehealing.com/webinar, to find the form and get announcements of when we are doing these webinars. Also, sometimes there are follow-up articles or messages. Also, you're just on my list, so you're more connected. Thank you once again for being here. That's me and my Gracie, and I love you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Yeah, thank you. Hang on, I'm going to shut the recording.